We'll continue now with a PhD candidate with Alberto Ruggiero, which will be presenting us Precambrian porphyry and epithermal deposits of the Alta Floresta mineral province. So, Alberto, whenever you're ready, you can start.
Hi guys, how are you doing? Did you survive Carajás? Is everyone yet? Carajás is a beautiful place, one of the biggest mineral provinces in Brazil, and I'm going to show you guys a little bit about another beautiful province in Brazil, which is called the Alta Floresta. So the Alta Floresta mineral province became very famous a couple of years ago when Anglo-American started to sell all their actives in Brazil and their exploration targets, and then suddenly from the day to the night they staked 1.5 million hectares just on this belt. So a lot of gossips came around the world. What have they found there? So time has passed, and we all know that there's a beautiful copper moly porphyry deposit there. Unknown age, but within the age of the belt, which is between 2.0 and 1.78. And I'm just going to show you a little bit about two major districts in this belt. Okay, the Alta Floresta mineral province is located let's put the pen here. Okay, Carajás is here, so it's all part of the same craton, which is the Amazonian craton. And this province, it's part of a big geochronological province, which is called the Rio Negro Juruena, which is which is the Rio Negro Juruena, which has ages which are in debate, because some of them states that the province may be a little bit older. It may share some units with the Tapajós province, which is here. So the difference between this province and the Tapajós province is just one big cover unit. So it may be part of a bigger system or a bigger belt, which includes several subduction arcs collided and accreted to a continental margin. Okay, so this is an overview of the province. It's delimited by these black lines, where we have a basement here, which is called the Bacari-Mogno, which is composed by mylonites and gneisses of 2.2 to 2.0, and then we have a lot of plutonic units and major covered by a volcanosedimentary unit. But the province has a segmentation of between a unmetamorphosed terrain, which is the 1 and the 2 here, okay, and amphibolite facies, metamorphic terrain, all of them with the same ages. So this is all part of the same belt, of the same subduction, accretion, and collision system, but somehow there is a big fault here, not yet very clearly studied, but it separates between a domain of metamorphic rocks here and shallow rocks here. So the unit, or the segment called the intrusive dominated segment, is composed by also a basement of older rocks, but all these units here, they are plutonic intrusives, mosodiorites, granodiorites, all of them within an age span of 196 to 185, and this is all covered by a volcanosedimentary unit called the Collider. I'm sorry, I didn't put this on the order, but this unit is a volcanosedimentary unit which has 600 kilometers of land. Okay, so this unit shows pyroclastic rocks, volcanic flows, ash calderas, and also intruded by the late stage magmatism, which is this one. It's called the Telespires, which is an anorogenic type of magmatism. Okay, so this unit is the most important for us. if we talk about porphyry and epithermal systems, which are formed between 5 kilometers depth to the surface, right? The epithermal deposits are occurring now in the surface. So here we have a beautiful unit of pyroclastic and volcanic rocks preserved. And there's also some calderas here. And these units are very prospective for this kind of systems, okay? Just taking a look about the geochronological evolution, we start here with the older units. All of these units are intrusive units, and then we have a major gold event here. It is just this one. We have subduction signature, we have oxidized and hydrous magmatism all around these units, but at the end, where the collision occurs, there is the big metallogenic, the gold deposition event, right? And it's cut by late stage or post-collisional anorogenic magmatism. This is just a summary of all ages taken from mineralization minerals, okay? So if you see, all these deposits have somehow the same age within the error, which is 1.8 to 1.78, 79. So all of them are within a single age span, right? So what are the biggest units, what are the biggest deposits in Alta Floresta? This is a simplified map, the same up here, but we just put the units in another colors to simplify where are the biggest deposits. The biggest deposit, which they gave this glance to the Alta Floresta, which is the Jaca, which is part of a big district of epithermal systems and porphyry systems. It's called the União Jaca system, which is in this the easternmost of Alta Floresta. Okay, another big deposit that I'll be talking about here is the Juruena deposit, which is in the opposite side of the Alta Floresta. This limit's not yet clear. Okay, so this line segments between the metamorphic and the shallow cover units. Other very important units deposits are the Pequente, X1, Luizão, Serrinha de Matupá, and Pombo, which is here on the. So Juruena Cluster is located here on the northwesternmost of the Alta Floresta. It is a beautiful district, lots of different systems. In this district, which is more than 10K of anomalism, there is porphyry evidences and also epithermal evidences. All of these parts of a lot of mineralized structures. This has been, during the 80s, a famous gold fever place with more than 20,000 people illegally extracting gold there. And the company which is running the exploration there now, it's Meteoric Resources, which they released this which is mine of this beautiful free gold, along with sylvanite and fangite altered rocks here. Just a quick overview of the geology. There's this big fault called Juruena Fault. It kind of delimitates between a shallow cover, a hastro-epithermal system, which are silver-rich structures, and then immediately closer to this fault, there are a couple of intermediate sulfidation deposits, and the porphyry evidences are here, just on the south. Okay, so this is just a sketch of what happens here at this district. The hastro covers, it's composed by this volcanics, rich in silver and lead, and the Dona Maria target is a gold, silver, tellurium rich structures. The gold grades here are outrageous. They can reach 1,500 grams per ton. And Crentes, which is located along the Juruena Fault, is an intermediate sulfidation deposit with copper, gold, silver, and lead, and the William and Mauro target, which is composed by D-style veins and some hydrothermal breccias, and all of these part of a system which we interpret as a porphyry system. Okay, these are the rocks present here. The basement, which is composed by this monosogranitic intrusion, okay, of 1.8083 to 1.79, okay, which is cut by these intermediate dikes with round quartzite. I've been working 11 years in Chile, exploring for BHP, and I've seen several porphyries. And when I came to this system in Brazil, I was, whoa, this looks like any Chilean porphyry, but without the big mineralization. But the textures of these porphyries are very similar to what happens in Chile. These things are cut by these myelolytic breccias, which is lamprophyric in composition. They have these bubbles, which are vesicles filled with calcite and albite, which we think it's cellularia, yet to be proven, and pyrite. And pyrite has gold inclusions. All of these are cut by these fine mafic dikes of doleritic, which are barren. All of these are mineralized. Okay, so alterations, hydrothermal alterations are typical. There's potassic alteration along the Juruena fault, and also some places of the IP anomaly here. Phyllic alteration with D-style veining. I'm going to show you a couple of pictures here. Okay, so what happens with the gold and silver mineralizations? The principal, the most rich gold mineralization here up to 1500 occurs at this low sulfidation. What we think, yet this is part of my PhD, is understanding this mineralization and trying to link this mineralization with some intrusion and try to understand the fertility of these magmas to deliver these fluids and sulfur to become this mineralization. So the richest are the bonanza grades up to 1500. Also high grades at the intermediate sulfidation, which are the Crentes Target, which is rich in copper, gold, silver, and lead. Okay. Also, some high grades occurs at the lamprophyric breccias, at this vesicle, and also some veins that cuts these things, and some copper, some subtle copper anomaly at the edges of some large conductive chargeable anomalies, which are being recently drilling now. Okay, so a bunch of pictures of the rocks, and I'll be talking about some targets. This is the Crentes Target, which is interpreted to be an intermediate sulfidation target, where we see a barren rock with no gold, no copper, nothing, and the structure gold grades can up to 100 ppm of gold, and some spikes here also. And these things occurs at the silica banded quartz, chalcopyrite, and pyrite veins. These things are cut by banded quartz, by the doleritic dikes, also cut by these veins. The late stage is a banded quartz silica with fluorite, which is barren, and the silica cerussite breccia, which is the latest at this target itself. Dona Maria, which is the richest place at Juruena. Hydrothermal alteration is not expressive. There's no quartz. There's just some fractures that kind of irradiates these things, these tellurites and bismuthites with gold, free gold, visible gold here. Okay, this may represent the low sulfidation, yet to be confirmed. Tomate Target, another target along Juruena, also free gold, chalcopyrite, galena, very similar to Dona Maria Target. And one thing that pops up, it's these dikes, intermediate dikes with chloritic alteration, and these dikes are 20 meters wide with 100 ppb of gold consistent. So it's kind of background of this dike. It's 100 500 ppb of gold. This is the main evolution of the system. The porphyry system starts with the potassic. The porphyritic occurs within the potassic, and all of these are cut by phyllic. Then epithermal style mineralization occurs, also with porphyritic by itself, and 3 stages of silica, a low temperature silica. The first one may have adularia, and I'm not getting into much detail of this because we are already short of time. These are just some veins of Juruena with this fine, sometimes sinuous, translucent quartz veins with bornite inside. Some of them may develop fine K-feldspar halos. Okay, another porphyry style vein here is the B style vein, which is very similar to Chilean veins, which has this fine edge of molybdenite. The classic D style veining, I don't know if any of you guys have been working in a porphyry system. This is very conclusive of a porphyry system. They also occur, but they are barren. The epithermal style veining starts with a banded silica with some tracks of sulfides, tracks of pyrite, and then switches to another band of chalcopyrite, and then another band of sericite, meaning that these are conducts of these fluids. And sometimes the temperature, the pH are better for pyrite, and then the changing of the chemical composition or the physical chemical composition of the fluids may switch between the sulfurs. Okay, this is a very rich zone of the epithermal style, of the intermediate style. This is all chalcopyrite with little bit of molybdenite, and pyrite is lesser here. And this is also part of the second. You can see the tracks of these veins, which mean fluid has been flowing here for a long time, and each time the chemical composition changes, and it ends with the suture of silica chloride bearing suture or center. Okay, here we can see the evolution of the first silica flow or mineralization cut by the barren third silica here. This is the third silica, also with this beautiful low sulfidation style barren quartz veins here. Okay, also part of the Juruena fault. It hosts some rock flower breccias, which are rich in chalcopyrite. Okay, these grades are very good, up to 3% of copper, and it's cut by silicified chloride breccias. All of these are barren, and it ends with this rock flower with a chloride breccia here. And this is part of the Ahastra, which I told you guys, which is the volcanic flows. These things can develop galena with grades of silver up to 500 ppm of silver. Okay, I've been doing some studies about the geochemistry. The guys from Meteoric gave all the database for me, so I've made lots of graphics. I'm not getting too much into detail, but if we put all the intrusive units here, there is a clear difference between at least 3 types of magmas. First type of magma, which are the basement, which are the intrusives, they tend to be more alkaline, they tend to be more high potassium, and then the dikes, the intermediate dikes, they plot very far away from these guys, and they tend to develop more mineralization here. And the third event should be the mafic magmatism. Okay, so I've tried a few fertility indicators. Strontium yttrium and vanadium scandium seems to fit what is an increase of magmatic water and oxygen fugacities, pointing towards that these three types of magma, they may be part of a single magmatic chamber, and crystallization, fractional crystallization process or mixing with another magmas could have been the trigger for mineralization. But we can also state that these guys are intraplate magmatism, while these guys, they have subduction signatures. And if we go back to the evolution of the belt, we are at the end, we are at the collision time. So these magmas could represent subduction or could represent remelting of a modified continental crust modified by subduction fluids. Okay, so the model of the mineralization here, it seems to be similar to what have been stated by one lately. I think this is 2020, where he subdivides all the intermediate sulfidation system in neutral compression and extensional. The differences is it's made by the ratios of silver and gold. So Juruena seems to fit here at the neutral compression, okay, and this model seems to fit very good at the explaining the mixing or the mixture of this mafic magmatism with the mineralization. So there's a lot to do yet. I've tried to date this mafic magmatism without zircons, so I'm trying to date monazite and titanite, and this yet to continue. Okay, so this should be all part of a late stage or at the end of a subduction state. Okay, the other district, it's União, which is the most famous now. It's run by Fides. Fides is the owner of the Jaca, of all the porphyries, but the Jaca is in hands of Anglo-American in a JV. Okay, so I cannot talk about Jaca because it's confidential, but I can talk a little bit about the thermal style mineralization here, which occurs very close to these porphyry centers. Okay, these porphyry centers are proved, they really occur. If you see the copper anomalism here, it's huge. Okay, and these veins, this structure, mineralized structures, which fits very well in a transpressional environment, structural environment, where we have brittle structures, northeast, Alina, Ana, Amanda, all these are mineralized bodies which are being extracted by Fides for gold, and some northwest and east-west structures which are the intermediate sulfidation structure. Just a few pictures of what happens here. These are the classical deep veins of the Jaca. I cannot put some beautiful pictures here yet, but someday it will, because it's a black swan that has been found on this belt. So all the porphyry explorers around the world now looking there. Rio Tinto, Anglo-American, Codelco, which is the most principal copper producer in the world now. Okay, so this is just an idea. Then what happens then? We have there was this porphyry system with copper, moly, and gold, and at shallow places, the environment of epithermal structures, and then some structure put there, them side by side now. Okay, this is just an idea. This is not published yet. Okay, this is a bunch of pictures here. So what are the takeaway messages? I don't know. I think I'm okay with the time. The Precambrian magmatic systems, porphyry and epithermal style system, they have been underexplored since a long time ago, of course, because 95% of the world's porphyry and epithermal system, they are in the tertiary. But a few number of good systems occurs in the Precambrian, such as Malanghan in India, which is a huge copper deposit, Aitik in Sweden, which is a very good deposit, also Geochemistry, which is in Nigeria, I guess, not Burkina Faso, I'm sorry about this. So why is that? Is this related to major Earth geodynamics? does the subduction has been changed a long time? Does the mantle has been changed? I'm not getting into detail about this, but no, the big changes occurred in the Precambrian to Archean times. Here we have a lot of time of subduction occurring. So why there's not that much porphyry around of Precambrian ages? Is that preservation? If we think that the highest exhumation rates in the earth now are the collision and the subduction places. So erosion should be huge at these places. If you see Chile, there is a lot of system eroded. And if we do take a look about this chart of the evolution of the subduction in the Tethyan belt, porphyry and epithermal style deposits occurs since subduction at the late stage where the collision occurs, and also after the collision. With the relaxation, the lamination should produce these high fertile magmas that should produce these things here. So just final picture of these things here. So new discoveries are yet to prove that the exploration significance of the Precambrian systems. Thanks to FIDIS, which is the owner of JACA, and Meteoric Resources of Juruena and Target Latin America, which runs Meteoric, and also the student chapter of Unicamp, which is beautifully doing beautiful things now, and also the student chapter of Canada. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Alberto. And well, even if we're running a little bit out of time, if somebody has a quick question that they want to ask Alberto, now will be the time. Otherwise, you can type it in the chat box.